Somewhere in Florence, a boy sat listening to men explain why they could never escape being poor. And he slowly realized they were all describing the same locked door. A door they were certain required a key none of them would ever hold. Escaping poverty, they believed, demanded things they did not have and could never get. It required luck, which had never favored them. It required education, which they had been denied. It required capital to begin with, money to make money, and connections to powerful people who would never open a door for men like them. Each of them had, in his mind, a long list of the impossible things escape would require. And since he possessed none of them, he had quietly concluded that the door would stay locked forever, and so he never even tried the handle. But the boy watched the few men who had actually escaped, who had started with nothing and climbed out, and he made a discovery that unsettled everything. Not one of them had begun with luck or education or capital or connections. They had escaped without the very things everyone believed were required, which meant the long list of impossible requirements was not true. It was a story, and the boy began to suspect that the story had been told on purpose. Because here is the thing he came to understand, and it is the heart of this whole fable. Escaping poverty had been made to seem far more complicated than it actually is. Wrapped in mystery, hedged with requirements, dressed up as something that only special people with special advantages could ever manage. And the more complicated it seemed, the fewer people ever attempted it. A locked door that looks impossible to open is a door no one wastes energy pushing against. Now, the boy was careful here, and you must be too, because there is a lie on both sides of this. It is not true that escape is impossible, but it is also not true that escape is easy. Anyone who tells you that you can leave poverty behind without effort, quickly and painlessly, is selling you something. What the boy found was a third thing, quieter and truer than either. Escaping poverty is not easy, but it is far, far simpler than they told you. Simple and easy are not the same word. A thing can be simple to understand and still hard to do. And the escape, he discovered, was exactly that. Built on a handful of principles so plain a child could grasp them, and yet requiring something difficult to sustain them. That gap between how complicated they made it look and how simple it actually is. That is where most people are lost. They go looking for a complex secret and never find it, because it was never complex. And while they search for the sophisticated key, they walk right past the plain one that was hanging beside the door the whole time, and the first plain truth is almost disappointing in its simplicity, which is precisely why it was hidden from you. The first plain truth is almost disappointing, and the boy understood at last that its very plainness was the reason it stayed hidden. People searching for a complicated secret walk right past a simple one, because they cannot believe the answer could be so ordinary. Here it is. To escape poverty, you must spend less than you take in. Always, without exception, no matter how little that leaves. That is the whole foundation. It sounds so obvious that people dismiss it in the same breath they hear it. And in dismissing it, they miss the one thing everything else is built upon. The boy watched men earn and spend in perfect step, so that no matter how their wages rose, nothing was ever left behind. And he watched other men, earning no more, hold back even a sliver, and slowly begin to climb. The mathematics of escape is not sophisticated. It is the simplest arithmetic there is. What comes in must exceed what goes out, and the space between the two is the only ground on which any escape has ever been built. There is no secret beyond it that makes this step unnecessary. Every complicated strategy in the world still rests on this plain floor. But keeping a sliver back is only half of it, and on its own, it is not enough. A pile of coins held back and left to sit will not lift a man out of poverty. It will only shrink quietly in the dark. So here is the second plain truth, just as simple as the first. Whatever you hold back, you must turn turn into something that grows, rather than something you consume. The boy thought of it as the difference between eating a seed and planting it. The coin you spend on comfort is a seed eaten, gone, and it produces nothing. The coin you place into something that earns is a seed planted, and given time, it becomes more than itself. That is the entire engine of escape. Hold back a portion and plant it instead of eating it again and again. Not a secret formula, not a sophisticated scheme known only to the clever. A principle so simple a child could hold it in one hand, spend less than you earn, and grow the difference. And that is genuinely most of it. The boy searched for years for the hidden complexity, the advanced trick that the escaped men must have known and were keeping quiet, and he never found it, because it did not exist. They had simply done these two plain things, and done them steadily, while everyone around them hunted for something more impressive. The escape was never guarded behind sophistication. It was hidden instead behind its own simplicity. Too plain to be believed, and so ignored by nearly everyone who desperately needed it. Which raises the question that breaks most people's hearts. If it is truly this simple, why does almost no one escape? And the answer is the part they never tell you. If the escape is truly this simple, why does almost no one make it? The boy wrestled with this question for a long time because it seemed to break his whole discovery in half. And the answer, when he finally saw it, was the part that no one ever tells you. The part that turns a plain truth into a hard one. Simple does not mean easy. These two words have been quietly confused in your mind your whole life. And that confusion is a large part of why you are still standing outside the door. A thing can be perfectly simple to understand and brutally hard to do, day after day, for years. Spend less than you earn. Simple to grasp in a single breath. And yet it asks you to deny yourself a comfort tonight, and tomorrow night, and the night after, when every part of you wants the relief now. Plant the seed instead of eating it. A child understands the sentence, and yet it asks you to watch a coin sit and do nothing for years while your patience screams to spend it. The knowledge is easy. The doing is what breaks people. So the real barrier was never a lack of knowing. It was never a missing secret. The barrier is the long, unglamorous difficulty of doing simple things consistently, across time, against every instinct that begs you to stop. And here the boy saw the cruelest part of the trick that had been played. They made escape look complicated for a reason. Because as long as you believe the answer is some sophisticated secret you have not yet found, you will spend your energy searching for it, and you will never do the plain, boring things that actually work. The boy watched this happen to man after man. Convinced the real key must be complex, they chased the advanced trick, the clever scheme, the impressive strategy, always looking for the sophisticated thing, always feeling that the simple things were beneath the real answer. And all the while, the simple things sat undone. The complexity was never just a lie. It was a distraction, and a perfect one, because it kept desperate people forever busy searching for a hidden door while the plain one stood open and ignored beside them. The boy understood then that escaping poverty is simple to know and hard to sustain, and that mistaking the one for the other is exactly what keeps people trapped. The man who thinks it is easy quits the moment it gets hard, betrayed, certain he was lied to. And the man who thinks it is complicated never starts at all, certain he lacks the secret. Only the one who understands that it is simple and hard, plain to see, difficult to hold, ever walks through. He expects the difficulty, so the difficulty does not break him. He knows there is no secret, so he stops searching and starts doing. But there is a second reason they made escape feel impossible, and this one is not about the money at all. It is about you. The second reason they made escape feel impossible is not about money at all. It is about you. About a belief planted so deep and so early that most people never even recognize it as a belief. They think it is simply a fact about the world. The belief is this: people like me do not escape. The boy heard it everywhere in Florence, never spoken outright, but woven through everything the poor said about themselves. Poverty was described not as a condition a person was passing through, but as a destiny, a fixed place, an identity, a fact as permanent as the color of one's eyes. This is how it has always been, they said, and this is how it will always be, for me and for mine. And the boy understood that this single belief was a heavier chain than any lack of money, because a man who believes escape is not meant for him will never seriously look for the door. Why search for a way out of a place you are certain you were born to stay in? This is the deepest reason the escape felt impossible. Not because the way out was hidden, but because people had been convinced the way out was not for them. And here, the boy found something that changed how he saw the whole matter. The escape becomes dramatically easier the instant a person stops believing it is impossible for someone like them. Not through magic, not through wishful thinking that pretends the world is fair when it is not, but for a plain and powerful reason. Your belief decides whether you try, and nothing that is never attempted has ever succeeded. The man who believes he can rise does the simple things because he thinks they might actually lead somewhere. The man who believes he cannot does nothing because in his mind, effort is pointless. The door is locked and he holds no key. And so why push at all? Two men, the same simple principles available to both. And the only difference between them is that one gave himself permission to try and the other did not. The boy saw men trapped not by any lack of means, but by a permission they had refused to grant themselves. A permission that was theirs to give all along and cost nothing but the courage to believe. And so half of escaping poverty, the boy realized, is simply reclaiming that permission, deciding that poverty is a place you are passing through, not a name you were given, that the door is meant for you as much as for anyone who ever walked through it. Because the moment you believe the escape is possible for you, you begin to do the simple things. And the simple things, done steadily, are the escape. The belief comes first, and the coins, as always, follow. When you place the simplicity beside the permission, only one thing remains standing between you and the door. When you set the simplicity beside the permission, only one thing remains standing between a person and the door. Not luck, not capital, not cleverness or connections, or any of the things they told you were required. The only thing left is this: to begin the simple things and to keep doing them long enough for them to work. That is the whole of it. And the boy wanted to be honest about it right to the end, because a false promise would betray everything this fable is for. The escape is not fast. A handful of simple actions, repeated, take years to carry a person out. There is no version where it happens by next season. And the escape is not painless. Holding back a coin when you want to spend it, planting a seed when you long to eat it, continuing when nothing yet shows. None of that is comfortable. So no, it is not easy. But look at everything the boy uncovered, and you will see why the title is true anyway. It is easier than they told you. Because they told you it required luck you would never get, capital you did not have, and permission that was never yours. And every one of those was a lie. The escape never required any of them. It required only simple things, done with patience, by someone who believed they were allowed to try. So gather what the boy found. They sold you complexity to keep you searching when the answer was always plain. They let you confuse simple with easy, so you would either never start or quit too soon. And they convinced you the door was not meant for you, so you would never test the handle. Strip all three lies away, and what remains is almost embarrassingly small. Spend less than you take in. Grow the difference instead of eating it. Believe it is possible for you, and do it again tomorrow. That is the escape. It was never behind a wall of sophistication. It was behind a wall of lies about how hard and how unreachable it was. And the way through is not to find some final missing piece, It is to choose one simple thing today and do it. And then do it again the next day and the day after that. Because the escape from poverty is nothing more than the sum of simple actions repeated past the point where most people give up. Not a leap, not a secret, a quiet accumulation of plain, unglamorous days. It is simple, it is hard, it is possible, and it is far closer than the men outside that locked door will ever let themselves believe. So try the handle. You may find, as the boy did, that the door was never truly locked, only painted long ago to look that way. There are more fables waiting on the other side for anyone willing to push.